Welcome back, listeners. Today, we're doing something a bit different.
Oh.
Yeah. It's going to be really fascinating, I think.
Oh.
So, get this. Our deep dive today is going to be into a collection of video blog summaries.
Oh, blog summaries.
Yes, from this young man named Jorge Luis Duña.
Okay, interesting.
So he meticulously documented, like minute-by-minute detail, his daily life
Wow.
for a 2-week period.
Okay, so we're getting a really in-depth look at his life then.
Exactly. And we're going to see if we can, extract some key insights about, his life, his routines, his aspirations.
The challenges.
All during this specific time frame, right?
Makes sense.
So, what can we glean about this guy? What's his personality like? His priorities? Is there some kind of personal growth happening here?
Big questions.
Big questions. What are his biggest struggles? Are there any unexpected revelations hidden in these daily summaries? Who knows?
It's like a little mystery. We get to be detectives.
I know. I love it. Okay, so a little background on Jorge. He is a 28-year-old Ecuadorian living in Amsterdam.
Amsterdam. Okay.
And he's also lived in Barcelona.
Very international.
Yeah. And, it seems like his purpose for doing this whole vlog thing was, self-reflection, tracking progress, documenting experiences, emotion,
Makes sense.
just all of it. And some of his core goals, he really wanted to get into music production.
Okay.
He mentions wanting to finish a song that he's been working on for 2 years.
Wow. Yeah, that's a long time.
I know. So he was really focused on that. Also, physical fitness.
Okay.
So he's trying to exercise 5 times a week, 10 minutes of yoga daily.
Yeah, keeping it consistent.
And just personal growth, too. Improving consistency, his self-belief, that kind of thing.
Classic self-improvement stuff.
Right. Okay, so let's get into some of the notable observations from these vlog summaries. Now, keep in mind, we're going to aim for a balance, right, between giving you the summary and also specifics that really bring Jorge to life.
I like that.
So first of all, early riser. This guy was often waking up at 3 or 4 a.m.
Wow.
for workouts.
Okay, that's dedication.
Hard worker, dedicated long hours to his job in the audiovisual field.
Oh, okay, so he's in a creative industry.
Yeah. He values healthy eating. So he's always, trying to eat healthy. But he occasionally does have those cheat meals.
Well, we're all human.
I know. We got to have those sometimes.
Exactly.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting, right?
Okay, I'm ready.
He talks very openly about his struggles with things like procrastination.
Oh, yeah, that's relatable.
Maintaining consistency with habits.
I think we all struggle with that.
Right. And this is where it gets a little...
What's that? What is it?
Well, he talks about his desire to reduce masturbation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, very openly. Which, I have to say, I wasn't expecting that level of honesty.
That's really putting it all out there.
I know. But it's so refreshing in a way.
Right. He's not trying to present this, perfect image.
Exactly. He's being real.
So, what else?
Oh, there's more. He also mentions managing stress and negative emotions.
Okay.
Feeling kind of emotionally disconnected from his family in Ecuador.
Yeah, I can imagine being so far away.
Right. And, like anyone, he's got this fear of failure, and he can be overly self-critical.
Yeah, that self-criticism can be a tough one.
Yeah, it can really hold you back.
Definitely.
But then there are these beautiful moments where he expresses deep gratitude.
Oh, I love that.
For things like his home and his peaceful neighborhood. Nada, his loving girlfriend.
Oh, that's sweet.
His family, the opportunities he's had in life. He's always expressing gratitude for something.
Feels like he's trying to find the good in everything.
Yeah, he's really trying to cultivate that positive mindset.
I like that.
And he uses these vlogs, it seems, as a tool to, process his emotions.
Yeah.
And learn about himself.
I mean, it's interesting that he's waking up so early.
Yeah.
That must be connected to his drive,
Yeah, what's that all about?
This need to be productive, to achieve things.
Right, exactly.
But then there's this tension, right?
Yeah.
Between this desire for self-improvement, but also he struggles with consistency.
Yeah. He sets these really ambitious goals, but he also admits to procrastinating, having trouble sticking to those habits.
Right. It's that classic, easier said than done kind of thing.
Totally. And then, going back to what we were talking about before, the fact that he's so open about these like challenging topics, the sexual impulses, the negative emotions.
Yeah, that's pretty rare to see.
It suggests a high level of self-awareness, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
And a willingness to be vulnerable, which is pretty amazing.
It's like he's not afraid to show his imperfections.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think that's really powerful.
It is. And you know, something else that really stands out
What's that?
is how much he talks about gratitude.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Right. And I think it's so important. You know,
Well, it is.
It's like this key ingredient for well-being.
Research backs that up.
Exactly.
Like gratitude can really boost your happiness, make you more resilient.
Right. And just make you feel better overall.
Yeah, it's like a superpower.
So from what we've seen so far,
Yeah.
we're dealing with a pretty complex individual here.
Yeah, he's not one-dimensional, that's for sure.
Right. He's relatable. He's
Yeah.
striving for success, happiness, and self-understanding.
Like most of us.
Right. Like most of us.
So let's dive into the specifics.
Let's do it. Day 1
Okay, first day of vlogging.
starts with this burst of optimism.
I like it.
He's talking about using the vlogs to, you know, track his personal growth, being inspired to believe in himself more. He even mentions waking up at 3 a.m. to exercise.
Whoa, he's not messing around.
I know.
Yeah.
Before work.
That's commitment.
But then, later that same day, he admits to procrastinating.
Oh, no. The classic self-improvement trap.
Instead of resting after that, you know, intense morning.
So even with the best of intentions,
Right.
we don't always live up to our own expectations.
It's so true. It's that constant tension, right?
Yeah, it's like you want to do all the things, be your best self, but life gets in the way.
Exactly. And Jorge's vlogs capture that perfectly.
I'm intrigued to share more.
Okay, so on day 2,
To what happens?
he's talking about, you know, the importance of self-care, taking time for yourself.
Good advice.
Right. But then he admits to forgetting to eat because he was so engrossed in work.
The irony.
Right. It's like the classic, you know, preach self-care but struggle to practice it.
We've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to find that balance.
It is. And it raises some important questions, you know,
About what?
about like setting realistic expectations,
Yeah.
being kind to ourselves in the midst of all this, you know, self-improvement stuff.
Right, because it can be overwhelming.
Totally. Like
Yeah.
you have this idealized vision of who you want to be, but then reality hits.
And you're like, wait a minute.
I know. You're human. You have limitations,
Exactly.
imperfections.
And Jorge's not afraid to show those imperfections.
Oh, no. He embraces them.
Okay, give me some examples.
Like on day 3, he's back to waking up early,
Back on the grind.
talking about the importance of energy for productivity. He even starts to notice these patterns in his behavior,
Like what?
like his tendency to stay silent when he's unsure of something,
Interesting.
which he links to his self-confidence.
Makes sense.
Like he's using these vlogs as a tool for self-analysis.
Yeah, like a personal therapist in video form.
Right. So then we get to day 4.
Okay, what happens on day 4?
This seemingly simple statement. I'm grateful for having means of transport, both my bike and car.
Okay.
And he talks about how the car is more comfortable in bad weather. Right. But it's interesting because
How is it?
it reveals a lot about his values, I think.
Okay, how so?
There's this awareness of privilege there, you know,
Right.
a recognition of the resources that contribute to his well-being.
That's a good point.
And it's a reminder that gratitude isn't just about the big things. It's about appreciating the everyday stuff too.
The little things that make life easier.
Exactly. And then day 5,
Day 5, all right.
we see him grappling with self-criticism, internal pressure.
That internal pressure can be tough.
Oh, yeah.
What's he feeling pressured about?
Well, he's worried about finances,
Okay, relatable.
having had some unexpected expenses recently.
Yeah, that'll do it.
And he even decides to enter savings mode.
Smart move.
Right. But it's a reminder that, you know, even someone who seems to have it all figured out still faces these real world anxieties and pressures.
It humanizes him. It's like, okay, he's just like us.
Right.
We all have those moments of
Yep.
stress, of worry. But then there's a silver lining.
There's always a silver lining.
I like it.
So on day 6, he talks about how much he values his relationship with Aneta.
Ah, his girlfriend.
Right. And he even jokes about getting married, which, you know, even in jest suggests like,
A deeper commitment.
yeah, a deep level of affection.
It's clear that she's important to him.
Oh, yeah. She plays a significant role in his life.
In what way?
Well, he talks about her offering support, understanding,
It's important.
and as he mentions later, she has a keen emotional awareness.
What does that mean?
Like she can sense his emotional state.
Wow, even from a distance.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
That's a special connection.
It is. And it makes you think about those people in your own life who provide that level of,
understanding.
Yeah, like emotional attunement.
Deep connection.
Right. Like they just get you.
Yeah. It's like they can read your mind almost.
And it makes you realize that even the most, independent, self-sufficient people still crave that connection, that sense of belonging.
We all need that.
We do. But then
there's another twist.
Yeah, the emotional roller coaster continues.
Okay, I'm buckled in.
On day 7,
what happens?
He describes feeling incredibly lonely after struggling to connect with people at a dance class.
Wow. So even amidst this busy, seemingly fulfilling life, those feelings of isolation can creep in.
They can.
What do you think that says about the human need for connection?
Well, I think it highlights the fact that connection isn't just about being physically present with others. It's about feeling seen, heard, and understood.
Right. And sometimes even in a crowded room.
You can feel utterly alone.
Exactly. If that deeper level of connection is missing.
It's like we're wired for connection, but finding those truly meaningful connections.
It can be a lifelong journey.
It can be.
It's not always easy.
No, it's not.
And Jorge's vlogs, they offer us this glimpse into that journey.
They do.
With all its complexities and contradictions.
And those moments of both profound connection and heart-wrenching loneliness.
It's the full human experience.
It is.
So we left off talking about connection.
Yeah, and how it can be so elusive sometimes.
It really can.
Even when you're surrounded by people.
Right, like at that dance class.
Exactly.
So day 8 takes us into Jorge's relationship with technology.
Oh, interesting.
He's got this fascination with AI.
Artificial intelligence.
Yeah, but he's also worried about it.
Worried? In what way?
Well, specifically, he mentioned the potential for harm, with pornographic content. And it's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because it ties into his struggle with controlling his sexual impulses.
Right, which he's been pretty open about.
Very open.
He even talks about having trouble controlling himself with pleasure in general.
Oh, wow.
And needing to, reduce his overall dopamine intake.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's like, I need a dopamine detox.
So it's not just about, sexual impulses.
Right, it's like a bigger thing.
This need for stimulation.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people can relate to that.
I think so too, especially these days.
With all the technology and everything.
It's like we're constantly bombarded with stimulation.
And it can be hard to resist.
Very hard.
But, going back to Jorge.
Yeah.
I think it's refreshing that he's so honest about these things.
It is.
Especially, someone who's actively trying to improve himself.
Right. He's not presenting this perfect image.
Exactly. He's like, hey, I'm human. I have struggles.
And that makes him more relatable.
Oh, totally.
It's like he's giving us permission to be imperfect too.
Right. Like it's okay to not have it all figured out.
And I think that's really important.
It is.
Okay. So moving on.
Yeah.
Day 9 is a big one. Jorge's birthday.
His 29th birthday.
Yeah, so he's working that day.
Which, triggers all these emotions.
Like what?
Well, he's a little sad about not being with his family.
Ah, that's understandable.
Right. And he's reflecting on where he is in life.
Birthdays can be like that. Make you think about things.
Exactly.
So is he having a party?
No. No big plans, just work.
But it sounds like he's finding meaning in it anyway.
Yeah, like he's accepting where he is. And looking ahead with a sense of purpose.
Growth mindset.
Exactly. And he also talks about the importance of allowing himself to experience all his emotions.
Even the negative ones.
Yeah, which is really healthy, I think.
It is. It's important to acknowledge all of it.
And it's clear that his relationship with Anita is a huge source of support during those tough times.
Like how?
Well, he mentions how she sensed his sadness, even though they were apart.
Wow, that's amazing.
I know. And she reached out to offer comfort.
That's true empathy.
It is. And it makes you realize how important it is to have those people in your life.
Yeah, the ones who just get you.
The ones who can sense what you're feeling.
Without you even having to say anything.
Exactly. It's like they have the sixth sense or something.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is. But unfortunately, the emotional roller coaster doesn't stop there.
Oh no, what happens next?
On day 10, he's feeling incredibly lonely again.
Oh, that's tough.
After struggling to connect with people at a dance class, remember?
Right, yeah.
It's like those feelings of isolation can just sneak up on you.
They can, even when you're surrounded by people.
It's true.
So it's not just about being physically present.
Right.
It's about that deeper connection.
Feeling seen and heard.
Exactly.
And that's not always easy to find.
No, it's not.
But those deeper, more intimate relationships, they can make all the difference.
They really can.
They provide that anchor, that sense of belonging.
Absolutely.
That can help you through those tough times.
So what happens on day 11?
Well, he opens up about something that I think a lot of people, especially those in demanding jobs, can relate to.
What's that?
Negativity from coworkers.
Ugh. Yeah, that's the worst.
It is.
It can really drain you.
So he talks about how this one coworker really impacted his mood and how he tends to just shut down when faced with that kind of negativity.
I can understand that.
Right. It's like a self-preservation thing.
Yeah, like you're trying to protect your energy.
Exact.
Because negativity can be so contagious.
It can.
So learning to set those boundaries.
Yes.
Protecting your mental space.
It's crucial.
Especially in those environments.
Where negativity can just run rampant.
It's like a toxic cloud.
It is. And then he brings up this whole thing about self-control again.
Okay.
And on day 12, he admits to having a problem with masturbation.
Wow, he's really laying it all out there.
I know.
It's admirable in a way.
It is. And he even links it to excessive phone use.
Interesting.
And how it impacts his energy levels.
It's all connected.
Right, like the dopamine, the stimulation.
Yeah.
It's all part of that bigger picture.
So what's he doing about it?
Well, he's trying to be more mindful of his phone use. Reduce his dopamine intake. Find healthier ways to manage his impulses.
That's a good plan.
It is, but it's not easy.
No, it's not.
It's like this constant battle.
With those ingrained habits.
Exactly. But his commitment to the process is inspiring, you know?
It is.
It shows that even when we slip up, we can always get back on track.
And those slip-ups can be valuable.
They can. They help us learn about ourselves.
Exactly.
Identify our triggers, our vulnerabilities.
The areas where we need to focus our efforts.
Right, yeah.
So on day 13, he does something really interesting.
Oh, what's that?
He takes a moment to just reflect on the simple things.
Like what?
Like having a bed, a home, food.
Those are big things, though.
They are, but we often take them for granted.
That's true.
And it sounds like he's grounding himself in the present moment, reminding himself of what he's grateful for.
Even when life feels chaotic.
Exactly.
And speaking of chaos, remember how he's been struggling with work stress?
Yeah, with those negative coworkers.
Well, on day 14, he talks about the importance of seeing the positive in every situation.
Even when it's tough.
Yeah, even when faced with negative people.
What does he say?
He says, humans tend to focus on the negative because of our biology, but I believe there's always something positive to learn.
Wow, that's powerful.
It is.
It's like he's actively choosing to reframe his perspective.
Yeah, to focus on the good, even when it's hard.
And that's a skill.
It is.
That can be so beneficial.
Because if you're always dwelling on the negative, it can really drag you down.
It can.
But when you train your mind to look for the good, it opens up a whole new way of experiencing the world.
It's like putting on rose-colored glasses.
Kind of, but in a good way.
Right, a more empowering way.
Exactly. And then on day 15,
okay, what happens?
He celebrates this small victory.
Oh, what is it?
He managed to eat healthy at work.
Okay.
And he's noticing that his stomach is getting smaller thanks to all the vegetables he's been eating.
Good for him.
I know.
It's those small victories that keep you going.
They do. They give you that sense of accomplishment.
And remind you that you're capable of making positive changes.
Exactly. So we're entering the final week of Jorge's vlogs.
The home stretch.
Right. And it feels like he's hit this point of, reflection.
Yeah.
Trying to integrate everything he's learned.
Makes sense.
He's piecing together the lessons, the patterns, the insights.
2 weeks of self-discovery, basically.
Exactly. But as we know, self-awareness doesn't make the challenges disappear.
Unfortunately not, no.
So on day 16, his birthday's coming up again.
Another year older.
And he's feeling a bit nostalgic. Thinking about past celebrations, how they compare to his current life.
Interesting.
He's working on his birthday again.
No party this year either.
Nope. No big plans.
Okay.
But there's this sense of acceptance, acknowledging where he is right now.
Right.
Looking ahead with this renewed sense of purpose.
I like that.
It's like he's made peace with the fact that life isn't always a party.
Right.
And sometimes those quiet internal celebrations are the most meaningful.
I think so too.
Then on day 17,
he
talks about this struggle with needing constant stimulation.
Oh, interesting.
He finds it hard to just be alone with his thoughts.
Alone with his thoughts?
Yeah.
And his emotions. Why do you think that is?
Well, he links it to his tendency to seek out distractions.
I see.
Which I think a lot of us can relate to.
Definitely, especially in today's world.
Right. It's like we've become so used to this constant stream of information.
The noise.
The entertainment.
Yeah.
We've forgotten how to just be
present.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think Jorge's vlogs really highlight that struggle.
In what way?
Well, he's constantly trying to improve himself, achieve his goals, but he's also realizing that the journey itself is just as important as the destination.
It's about the process.
Exactly. And those quiet moments, those spaces of stillness, that's where the real growth happens.
Where we can connect with ourselves.
Exactly.
On a deeper level.
And then on day 18.
Day 18, what happens?
He shares this really powerful insight.
I'm intrigued.
He says, I'm grateful for the opportunity to work without feeling too much stress.
Wow.
It's like after all that worry and pressure,
yeah,
he's finally finding some peace.
Some contentment.
In his work life.
That's great to hear.
It is. And it reminds me that sometimes the things we're striving for are already present in our lives.
We just need to see them.
Exactly. But on that same day, he also talks about how he adapts to each person he interacts with.
Oh, interesting.
Which allows him to communicate effectively.
Right.
But it also makes him wonder if he's losing some of his own identity in the process.
Yeah.
It's like he's trying to find that balance between being authentic to himself and connecting with others.
It's a tough one.
It is. And it seems like he's becoming more aware of that.
More aware of what?
Of that balance.
Right.
He's questioning his patterns, examining his motivations, exploring his own identity.
That's deep.
It is. But then on day 19, he has this really vulnerable moment.
What does he say?
He says, sometimes I lose hope in finding the positive side of sadness.
Wow.
It's like even with all his effort to focus on the good, there are times when the darkness just creeps in.
And it's hard to see the light.
Exactly.
I think we've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
Those moments where the sadness just feels
overwhelming.
And
I think it's really brave of him to share that.
It is.
Because it normalizes those feelings.
Right.
It's like, it's okay to not be okay all the time.
Exactly. And it's in those moments of vulnerability when we allow ourselves to feel everything.
The full spectrum.
The full spectrum.
That we can truly connect.
With ourselves.
And with others.
On a deeper level.
Right.
So how does he move through it?
Well, on day 20.
Okay.
He's feeling less sad.
That's good.
But he acknowledges the importance of allowing himself to feel those difficult emotions.
Even when things are good.
Even when the day seems perfect.
Interesting.
It's like he's realizing that trying to force happiness doesn't work.
You can't just ignore the bad stuff.
No. You have to acknowledge the full spectrum.
It's the full spectrum of emotions.
To truly move through it.
I love that.
And it's so true, right?
It is. It's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater.
I love that analogy.
You can fight against it, but eventually...
It's going to pop back up.
Exactly. It's the same with our emotions.
The more we try to suppress them, the more intensely they resurface.
So we have to create space for them.
We do.
Allow ourselves to feel them fully.
Without judgment.
Without judgment.
Without resistance.
And it seems like Jorge is starting to do that.
Embrace that approach. Yeah. He's becoming more accepting of his emotional landscape.
Okay.
Recognizing that even the difficult emotions have something to teach him.
That's a great mindset.
It is. And it's not just about accepting those emotions.
Right.
It's also about taking care of himself.
Self-care.
Physically and mentally.
Okay.
He talks about the progress he's made with exercise, how it's given him more energy, stamina, but he admits to neglecting his meal prep a bit.
It happens.
It does. Life gets in the way.
So it's not about being perfect.
No, it's about making those healthy choices most of the time.
Most of the time.
And being kind to ourselves when we slip up.
Exactly.
And recognizing that self-care is a journey.
Not a destination.
Exactly. There will be days when we nail it.
Yeah.
And days when we fall short.
And that's okay.
It is. It's about progress, not perfection.
Progress, not perfection.
And Jorge is committed to that progress.
It sounds like it.
He wants to improve physically and mentally.
Throughout the year.
Focusing on communication. Yeah. Building those healthy habits.
Those are great goals.
And as he's working on himself, his relationship with Anita is also evolving.
Oh. In what way?
Well, he recognizes his fears about their future.
Okay.
But he's also expressing this growing sense of
what?
security, self-worth.
That's great.
It's like he's realizing that he's worthy of love and connection.
Yeah.
And he doesn't need to shrink himself
To hide his vulnerabilities.
to be accepted.
That's so important.
It is. Now, day 21 brings us back to
Back to what?
one of Jorge's main goals,
Yeah.
music production.
Yes, Aurora.
He's finally feeling that renewed sense of motivation.
Okay.
And he even has a plan to create a music video for it.
Wow, that's exciting.
It is. And it's a reminder that
Yeah.
even amidst the challenges, the setbacks,
Yeah.
it's important to keep pursuing those things that light us up.
The things that bring us joy,
Exactly.
our passion.
But even with this renewed focus on his music, the challenges don't disappear.
Right.
On day 22, he's grateful for his health, his financial security, his motivation.
Sounds like he's in a good place.
He is. But then on day 23,
What happens?
he's back to wrestling with that need for constant stimulation.
That familiar struggle.
It's like a recurring theme.
It is.
And it just shows that,
Self-improvement isn't linear.
exactly, there will be ups and downs.
2 steps forward, 1 step back.
But the important thing is to keep moving forward
Even if it's slow.
and to be kind to ourselves along the way,
Always.
because we're all works in progress.
they are.
Constantly evolving, learning,
And it's through those challenges
the struggles, the setbacks.
that we often learn the most.
Yeah, exactly. So day 24 marks a big milestone.
Oh, what is it?
2 weeks of consistent vlogging.
He did it.
He did. And he's surprised by his own dedication,
That's awesome.
even though he describes his life as a roller coaster of highs and lows.
Well, whose life isn't?
Right.
It's a testament to the power of consistency.
It is. Showing up for yourself.
Even when you don't feel like it.
Even when it's hard.
And those small, consistent actions,
Yeah.
they can lead to significant results.
They can. And it's not just about external results.
Right.
It's about those internal shifts.
What do you mean?
Well, when you commit to something and follow through,
Yeah.
it builds self-trust,
Self-trust.
resilience,
Right.
that belief in your own ability to create change.
And sometimes that means confronting your fears.
Exactly. And on day 24, Jorge opens up about his fear of commitment, specifically in his relationship with Aneta.
That's a big one.
It is.
Yeah.
He's scared of moving too quickly, of not being reciprocated.
It's a valid fear.
It is.
Okay.
But he also expresses this confidence that
Yeah.
if he does commit, things will work out.
That's good.
It is. And it's a beautiful reminder that vulnerability is a strength.
Not a weakness.
Exactly. And when we share our fears,
Our insecurity.
it creates space for deeper connection.
Deeper intimacy.
And sometimes confronting those fears can lead to breakthroughs.
Because when we acknowledge what's holding us back,
Yeah.
we can start to let go
Of those limiting beliefs.
and move forward with more courage.
More authenticity.
So the final day of his vlog journey,
Day 25.
what happens?
He tackles this topic that's been woven throughout his reflections.
What's that?
The pressure he puts on himself to be productive.
Yes, that internal pressure.
He talks about how it can lead to these extremes
Extremes of what?
of productivity and
That's what it-
exhaustion.
Right, the burnout cycle
And he's struggling to find that balance.
between doing and being.
Exactly. And I think that's something a lot of us can relate to,
Oh, absolutely.
especially in today's culture.
Where we're constantly being told to do more,
Be more.
achieve more.
It's exhausting.
It is. We've forgotten how to just be present,
To enjoy the moment.
to appreciate stillness.
And Jorge's starting to recognize that.
Recognize what?
That this constant pressure takes a toll,
A toll on his well-being.
physically and emotionally.
And he's honest about that emotional toll.
He talks about feeling tense, wanting to cry,
Oh, wow.
this overwhelming need to just disconnect.
To clear his mind.
It's like he's hitting that point of burnout
Yeah.
where he realizes something needs to change.
And that's often the catalyst for transformation.
It is. It forces us to reevaluate
Priorities.
and make changes to support our well-being.
It's like our bodies and minds are saying,
Slow down.
rest.
Recharge.
And in those moments of rest and reflection,
Yeah.
we can gain clarity to make those necessary changes.
So, after 2 weeks of diving deep into Jorge's logs,
Yeah.
what are your final takeaways?
You know, what strikes me most is his honesty.
His vulnerability,
Exactly. He doesn't shy away from sharing his struggles.
his insecurities, his doubts.
And in doing so, he allows us to connect with him
On a deeper level.
To recognize our shared humanity.
To feel less alone.
His journey reminds us that we're all works in progress.
Constantly evolving.
Learning.
Striving to be our best selves.
And it's in those moments of imperfection.
Of vulnerability.
That we truly shine.
I love that. And his commitment to those daily practices.
The gratitude, the exercise.
Yeah, healthy eating, the reflection.
It's inspiring.
It shows that even small actions can make a big difference.
And his vlogs highlight the power of documentation.
Right. Even just those brief daily entries.
It can lead to self-discovery, personal growth.
That's like holding up a mirror to your own life.
Exactly.
So it makes me wonder.
Yeah.
If you were to start a daily vlog for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
What insights about yourself do you think you might uncover?
That's a great question for our listeners to ponder.
It is. And that's a wrap on our deep dive into the vlogs of Jorge Luis Duña.
A fascinating journey.
It was. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.